everything becomes more emotional when it's your own business. Like if you had a friend who was amazing and they were trying to sell their stuff, you'd be telling everyone about it. You'd be like, oh my God, you've got to work with my friend. But he's amazing. He does this thing. Oh, you've got to see it. And that wouldn't feel sleazy. When it comes to your own services or your own products, it becomes so much more emotional, and the mindset gremlins start playing their games, don't they? And what we say is, oh, I don't want to seem boastful. I don't want to seem like I am blowing my own trumpet too much, and I don't want to be sleazy. What we're really saying is, I'm scared that people will say no. I'm scared that people will say no. I'm scared people will judge me.
Greetings, one and all, wherever you are in the universe, and welcome to the latest episode of an Espresso Shot of Confidence. With me, your host, the Master of Awesomeness, Ashley Griffiths. This is the podcast that challenges taboos and explores confidence from all different angles. And today, we're going to be talking all about having the confidence to do sales and marketing in your business. And who better to speak to than Janine Coombs, a sales and marketing expert who works with coaches and consultants to earn more without slogging their guts out. And who can say better than that? So, hey, Janine, how are you doing?
Very well. Thanks for having me.
Absolute pleasure. So, just before we dive into all things sales and marketing, for anyone that for some unknown reason doesn't already know you, could you just let them know a little bit about who you are?
I mean, who wouldn't know me by now?
I know, shocking, right?
Your summary was very good. It's very concise. I'm now just going to waffle in comparison. But you're quite right. I'm a sales marketing expert. I work with coaches and consultants. They tend to have been running their business long enough to know that it should be easier by now, and they haven't quite cracked it. And they're doing a lot of the things that they feel like they should be doing. They've got a website, they might have a blog, they might have a video channel, they might have a podcast even. Something's not quite there. And what I love doing with them is digging into their offer, their main offer or their offer suite, and saying, okay, is it clear who you're helping? And is it clear what you're helping them with? And is the value of what you're offering clear? Which then we get into the exciting realms of pricing conversations. But once you've got that clear, everything else becomes easier. So I see a lot of people getting stuck on what content should I create? Where should I be turning up online? And actually those questions are easy to answer when you've got who you're helping with what clear.
Love that. And we'll dive into that, the murky deeps of pricing later on, that fun topic everyone just loves. Absolutely. So one of the things, and I know with coaches, consultants, and people in general that run a business, there's a huge ick factor to sales and marketing. A huge, the people I help, they're like, oh God, I don't want to see myself on camera. I don't want to see myself on screen. Am I boasting by saying I'm good at what I'm doing? So, no, absolutely not. I know that, but so many people feel that way, right? And they spend a lot of time waiting for the referrals to appear as if by magic. So, what are some of the reasons do you think that coaches, consultants, business owners are feeling icky? And what can they do to get more confident marketing their business?
I think, first of all, everything becomes more emotional when it's your own business. Like if you had a friend who was amazing and they were trying to sell their stuff, you'd be telling everyone about it. You'd be like, oh my God, you've got to work with my friend, Bernard. For some reason, he's called Bernard. You've got to work with my friend Bernard. He's amazing. He does this thing. You've got to see it. And that wouldn't feel sleazy. That wouldn't feel pushy, because you would be passionate about what Bernard does. And you've seen this person and they've mentioned something that makes you think, gosh, they really need to see what Bernard does. When it comes to your own services or your own products, it becomes so much more emotional, and the mindset gremlins start playing their games, don't they? And what we say is, oh, I don't want to seem boastful. I don't want to seem like I am blowing my own trumpet too much, and I don't want to be sleazy. What we're really saying is, I'm scared that people will say no. I'm scared that people will say no. I'm scared people will judge me. And then you see, like, I hang out a lot on LinkedIn, and you see so many posts of people saying, oh, why do people keep promoting their stuff all the time? It's boring. You shouldn't just sell, sell, sell. And it makes you go back in. I could just feel the people who have poked their little heads out of the burrow, like, oh, dare I post about what I'm selling? And then they see a post and they go back in. They go back into
Yeah.
the little burrow. And it's, I sense it as well. I'm largely impervious to that now, but you still notice it, and you're still affected when people are slagging other people off for being too salesy or promoting too much,
Yeah, it's a
talking about
lot
their own
of,
stuff too much.
oh God, heaven forbid, running a business and talking about your offers.
You gotta, haven't you? I mean, it sounds silly when you put it like that.
Yeah.
You know, you've got to talk about your own offers at some point, and there are ways to do it that aren't pushy. You don't have to be pushy. You don't have to be that pushy salesperson who's shoving something somebody doesn't want down their throat. That's not how you would do it, dear listener. You do it how it feels comfortable for you. And that's why, again, I love getting the offer clear, because if somebody says no, they're saying no to the offer. They're not saying no to you. They're not saying no, Ashley, I hate you. I mean, there might be, but unlikely. Unlikely.
All I was doing was trying to sell you some video stuff. I mean, come on, that's a bit extreme, right? Like, but it's so true. I think it's so easy to take it personally when you get started, and I mean, I see it right now, like from the marketing point of view. So you've mentioned LinkedIn. So LinkedIn's having one of its moments again at the moment, where like 2 people see your post every day, and that can feel like a rejection. And what can you do to kind of like get past that? Because like you said, sales and marketing is full of opportunities for you to perceive that you have been rejected as a person.
Yeah, I mean, anything you can do to divorce yourself from the result. Like, this is a classic coaching thing that a coach would say. But if you are looking to gauge your success at something, or whether a post of yours or an email of yours is successful or not, or if you're trying to, you've got a big goal that you're working towards. Say you've got a group program you want to fill out. You can't control how many people actually buy. What you can control is how many posts you put out, how many emails you put out, the effort you put into trying to make sure that your messaging is resonating, and maybe some research. Like, that is something you can put down and tick off. And you can go,
Yeah.
yes, I did everything I possibly could. And if you did everything you possibly could to ensure the success of that campaign, shall we call it, then you can look and go, okay, something went wrong there. What was it? Was it how I presented it? Was it the messaging? Was I on the wrong platform? But usually things fail because we haven't tried hard enough. And I'm talking to myself here. Like, my inner critic is a little mole woman called Doris, and she's very scared to come out of her little cave. And I had to write her a letter the other day and say, it's okay, Doris, we've got this, and we know it's not scary. It feels scary, it's not scary. We're going to be posting every day on LinkedIn, and we're going to be telling people about what we're promoting at the moment, but it's okay.
No, I like that. And I remember but you put a post out, like basically saying, right, everyone's going to hold me to account on this, because I'm going to make sure it happens. And it's a powerful thing, isn't it? I think when you realize that, and you just go like, okay, let's give it a go, see what happens. Because I think a lot of the time we exist in this realm of wondering, well, what if people do think I'm being too salesy? Or what if people think I'm like one of those bro marketers that are just going to like try and rinse them and spam them and do all of this stuff? And you end up just doing nothing, or not enough. It's like, oh, well, yeah, it must have been the algorithm.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think the type of person who is worried about being too salesy probably could never be too salesy. Like if
Mm,
you, I saw somebody say, don't use marketing and sales techniques that you don't like being used on you,
mm,
which I think is really good rule of thumb. Like
mm,
I don't mind um, psychological pricing. Like I just don't
mm,
mind it. I see people hate it. They hate it. They say, why can't you just use a round number? Why are you using sevens and fives? I don't mind that at all. That makes me feel better as a salesperson to say it's under £1,000 or it's under £500 or it's under £3,000. I like it from my point of view as selling it. And
mm.
I don't mind when other people use those odd numbers as well. But I know some people hate it. So if you hate it, don't do it.
Yeah,
It's fine. It's fine.
that's exactly. It's great advice. It's like, why force yourself to do things? I mean, there's so many shoulds out there. I mean, you go on LinkedIn, you go on any social media platform. There's so much advice about what you should be doing,
Mm.
and it can get very overwhelming because just so much noise out there. Like, oh, you've got to focus on inbound leads and you've got to post 500 times a day, or it's all about outbound. That's the thing everyone's getting excited about on LinkedIn at the moment. All of a sudden it's all about outbound, 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 outbound. And oh, you've got to be networking. You've got to go to 20 networking events in the morning, get up at 6 a.m. Oh God, I'm starting to cringe just thinking about that. I'd never do that. And I don't. No matter what. Well, yeah, you'll get loads of
Yeah.
business if you go to BNI. Well, you go for your life. I'm not getting up at 7 a.m. to try and be nice to people. I'm not doing it. So I know what I'm
I
like in
can't
the
be nice
morning.
that early. Just
No,
don't try.
absolutely. I really am not going to, I mean, but that comes from experience, right? Once you've played around with things, once you've learned how to say bloody no, you can really start to find the path that works for you. So, if somebody's starting out right now, what steps can they take to kind of maybe remove some of this overwhelm within their sales and marketing?
Yeah, it is really tricky because if you are on social media for your business, you kind of part and parcel of that is engaging with other people, and then you're going to be exposing yourself to all these shoulds. So I think one of the simplest things you can do is set yourself some boundaries, set yourself your own rules. A coaching friend of mine, I don't know whether this is her thing, but I've heard this a couple of times, is have a to don't list, not a to do list, a to don't list, and
Mm,
list things that you're definitely not going to do. So, for instance, if you've decided, right, this is it, I'm gonna focus on LinkedIn, and I'm gonna really give it a good go for 6 months, then you can write on your to don't list, I am not gonna go on any other social media platform,
mm,
and I am not going to, if I see something that makes me freak out from somebody and they say blah, then I'm just going to, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to ignore it. I'm going to write a little affirmation. You can plan for these things. You can
mm,
plan. Bob Gentle actually was saying this. I don't know whether you know Bob. He's a good guy. Um, Personal branding specialist. He was saying that people act surprised when they get overwhelmed.
mm,
It's like, oh, I've become overwhelmed. I feel like everything's awful and I should give up business. He said, this is inevitable. Like, why are people surprised? This will
mm.
happen. Like, it happens to everyone.
Oh yeah.
Some days you feel awful and you want to give up and you feel completely like the world is on your shoulders. This is not a sign that you should give up. This is a sign that you should prepare for these times and have a plan of action. Like, what would make you feel better? Going for a walk, going for a run,
Mm,
meeting friends, going just taking the day off. What would help you? Like, we know what would help us,
yeah.
and if we can just plan and plug that in when we freak out. I just thought, gosh, I've never heard that before. Really good. I like that.
It's true. It's true. That's one of the problems, I guess, from the online world. You're surrounded by messages about everything is awesome, everything is good. Oh, I literally just posted a post today and I got my 9 million leads. It's like, really? you know, but it still goes out there, and people then inevitably compare themselves to that, and then start thinking maybe they've got this small business, small agent business of one that's ticking over, it's doing well. And I know I've had to really call myself out on this a few times. I'm thinking, well, it's not enough, is it? And it's like, but wait a sec, whoa, 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 whoa. You never started this to create an empire. You know, that was never my intention. But it's very easy to lose sight of those things, isn't it? Lose sight of why you're actually doing this in the first bloody place when you see all that stuff online, right?
Yeah. Yes, you're so right. When I first set up my business, I don't think I even realised that's what I was doing, to be honest with you. I
Just
sort
do
of
this.
I thought I want to help people with marketing, and to begin with, I was doing all sorts. I was giving brand workshops to bathroom showrooms and campaign planning for like a fake tan brand, and I trained like 1,000. No, how many was there? Hundreds of interpreters on marketing. It was just, oh my god, like I was all over the place. And it took a while. I was like, hang on a minute, I think I'm running a business here. Maybe I should act like that. It took me quite a while.
No, I get that. I
But
get that.
I might be alone.
No, not at all. I got made redundant, and I remember my old man said to me, like when I got back from a holiday, he said, because I was looking for jobs and I was just cringing. I was like, oh God, I can't. And he said, well, why don't you just do it yourself? And I was like, well, I wouldn't have to work for any idiots other than myself then, would I? And that's how it all started. And yeah, eventually I was like, I think I might have a business here. But yeah, it does take
Yeah. Oh,
that
good. It's
time.
not just me.
No. I think if a lot of people are honest, they don't just wake up one morning and think, right, I'm just going to revolutionize something. I think a lot of people just literally wing it. I don't think there's nearly enough honesty in the world, in the business world, about that. Nearly enough.
They wake up one day and they're like, I'm a leader.
No,
I'm a leader, and I'm going to go from 0 to 100K in 6 months.
yeah. I think that there will be people that literally probably did that, but I think the vast majority,
Yeah.
but who knows?
Yeah.
I might do a post on that on LinkedIn and ask people, so did you really start a business or have you just been winging it? See if
Yeah.
anyone actually answers that honestly.
Yeah. No, mine was very evolutionary and step by step. And gradually, I was like, actually, I'm going to have to get some systems in place and some processes. And I got to like it. I'm like, oh, I feel like I'm getting organized. I feel like I'm being a grown up, get a proper bookkeeper and silly things like I have all my alt text for my
Mm-hmm.
images on a sheet now, so that if I use the same image again and again and again, which I do, I just copy and paste instead of writing it all out. I know some people don't bother with alt text, but I do. So there.
No, I like that. I like that.
Accessibility is important.
Accessibility is massively important. I go off on that one about captions on videos all the time. There is simply no need not to now, because you don't even have to do it. You've got apps will do it for you. But yes, but I'll get off my soapbox. But speaking of videos is an area that I know you have you love dearly. We were just talking before we came on about your latest video, which was cracking.
Oh, thank you.
But videos weren't always your thing, right? They were a bit like
No.
cringe-tastic.
Yeah, people. It's so funny, isn't it? When you crack something, it doesn't matter how many years it took you to get to that point. People see you and think, oh, you're a natural. Oh, it's okay
Yes.
for you. You're like, no, I used to hate myself on photos, let alone video, like
Mm-hmm.
the same as anybody else. Oh, you hear your voice and you're like, oh, I don't sound that awful, do I? Do I really sound that awful? I just won't ever listen to myself ever again. I won't be on video. I won't be on, film in any way, shape, or form. But I think what I can say is when I was a child, I was a bit of a frustrated performer. I was always told, stop showing off.
Mm-hmm.
I always thought that was everybody. Everybody got that as a child, but apparently not. Um, and it took me a few decades to get back to it. But running my own business, one of the gifts of running my own business is, yes, it's hard to promote yourself sometimes, but it forced me to confront that side of things. And I remember the first photo shoot that I had with my husband, who's quite nifty with a camera, and he took some photos of me. I felt like such an idiot. And I remember using a photo of me on a leaflet because I was doing this local thing. And I just thought, oh my God, everybody's going to see this and think, who does she think she is, with her
Yeah.
face all over the leaflet? And then fast forward a couple of years, I started going on video for LinkedIn, and it felt very, very nerve-wracking. I thought, oh, my old colleagues are going to see this, my old bosses, the people I used to work with, they're going to see it and think, who does she think she is? She's talking a load of old waffle. But it's baby steps, isn't it? And
Oh yeah.
the more I went on video, and I was doing my own editing, and for me that was the key. I did my own editing, and it forced you're looking in your own eyes, and there's something magical about that. I think it's the human connection. It's so freaky. But if you had a friend and you spend all these hours talking to each other, looking each other's eyes and making eye contact, that's how bonds are formed.
Yeah.
And I swear it worked with me looking at my own image, which sounds very narcissistic. But I got used to the way I looked. I got used to the way I sounded. And now I absolutely love being on video. Love it.
No, I get
So
that.
freaky.
No, I don't think it's narcissistic at all. I think it's one of those things that people struggle with when they are faced with just a camera, not a room full of people, not an individual. It's a camera, and that camera can be really unforgiving, especially if you've not done it before, because you start judging what you look like. You mentioned your voice. I did the same. I felt like I sounded like a zombie on a microphone. I hated it. Now I love it. I really don't care now because I know the truth. I do sound like a zombie in the morning, but most of the time I don't. So I think being able to look at yourself, and I've had the same thing when you're looking at yourself on camera and you're not judging. That is such a powerful gift, because so many people, like you mentioned, like yourself, and I did as well, you start picking fault. You start thinking, oh, what are people going to think about me? Who do I think I am? Oh my God, look at the size of that nose. Like you start judging yourself. And when you're able to flip that, actually show some respect to yourself as well, it just magnetizes things, doesn't it? It just infuses things with a different energy. Have you found that?
Yeah. Yeah. No, it has been quite life-changing. I sort of hesitate over using that because it sounds so ridiculous. LinkedIn video changed my life. But the truth of the matter is, the funny thing is, it's like, oh no, I don't like being on video. I don't like being on photos. And then we're walking around with these faces all the time. People are looking at us from every angle, like really unflattering angles in bad lighting. At least on video, you can control the angles and you control the lighting. Like, you probably look better than you do in real life, and you might as well get used to it. I've seen people. There was a woman who sticks in my mind. I can't remember her name now, but she's got. I think she had Bell's palsy. She like one side of her face had been paralysed.
Okay.
But I remember watching her videos, and you do that eye connection. She can't see me because it's recorded video, but I'm looking at her eyes and making eye contact, and you get used to her face, and you start liking her face, and then you start loving her face, and I like her voice, and I like what she's saying, and she's interesting, and she's witty, and she's sharing interesting stuff. It doesn't matter what you look like. It really, really doesn't.
No.
You just got to learn to love what you got. Like, does it work? Well, lucky you.
Love it. I think it is that connection. It's one of the things I always say to people and about the eye contact. It's like, okay, yes, just because you're not in a room with someone doesn't mean that body language and nonverbal communication, it goes out the window, that you can just start doing loads of random shit. No, it's like you need to hold people's attention. And you talked about the reaction, and that's exactly it. You feel like they're looking at you, seeing you, hearing you. And from a viewer point of view, you're engaging more senses, the voice, the sound, the images. It's just very powerful. And again, if you're able to show that love inwards, show that respect inwards, and that just goes outwards, because people just immediately go, oh, I love your vibe, love your energy, so confident on camera. And as you mentioned earlier on, oh, you're such a natural. Yes, 500 bloody videos later.
Yeah,
But that's the thing.
absolutely.
But people compare themselves, don't they, to the person who looks natural, and forget the fact that once upon a time you recorded your verse video and it was bloody awful. You hated it, but you posted it anyway.
Absolutely. The first video I ever did, I think it was a live. What was I thinking? On Facebook. And I had one viewer, and I called out to that viewer and I was like, oh, hello. What are you doing here? What's going on? And it was my dad. And he commented on the video saying, oh, see you at the weekend, Jan. And I was like, oh my God, this is the worst thing ever. And I panicked and I just shut the live down.
Oh, yeah. Yep. Love it.
Ground, eat me up now.
Yeah, my mum was my one and only fan for quite some time.
Yeah.
I love it.
Oh, dear. And he didn't go on to buy, so double whammy.
What was that all about? Aye. So, like right now, though, and this is probably people that have seen your videos would be surprised to hear that you were feeling this way when you started, because right now the videos that you put out are so full of personality, energy, lots of humor, always great to watch. They always make me laugh. I always take a moment to watch them. What was the thing that made you think, you know what, screw it, I'm just going to put me out there and see what happens?
What was the thing? There was the pivotal moment was I'd already be doing a bit of video. So this wasn't why I got into video. I think the video thing was just, it felt, I knew the power of it from my own experience of watching other people's video. And I was like, I really can feel this connection. This is weird. I've only seen them, they're pre-recorded videos, but I feel like I know them. So that was the catalyst for me getting on video. But there was an incident where a friend of mine who was on video quite a lot got some feedback from somebody. They said, oh, we do video for people. Do you want us to give you some critical feedback? And she said, yeah, go on then. And the feedback was so stupid. It was like, oh, we think you look too young to be credible. You need to look older, wear more makeup, lower your voice because you sound like a school teacher. Perhaps wear some pearls. The feedback was hysterical. Like, it was my reaction. Like, she posted a video and she thought, I'll use this as content. She was very mature about it. She said, look, this is interesting. I got this feedback. What do you think? Do you think this is fair? Do you think, because she was in her 30s, like, she wasn't, not that should matter, but like, there was no way she didn't look credible. She was a 30-year-old woman. That was her reaction. My reaction was like, oh my God, I've got to do a spoof. I've got to do a spoof video of this. And I asked for her permission because I sort of felt like I was riding on her story, but she was like, yeah, go for your life. And I put on the pearls and I put on tons and tons of makeup and I put on a stupid voice. And I was saying, oh, this is me being very credible. And my friend got this feedback. And I thought, well, I thought it was so good that I'm going to put on lots of makeup and ha, ha, ha. And I could barely keep a straight face. And I was sweating buckets when I pressed publish.
Mm.
I thought, oh my God, people on LinkedIn are going to think I've lost it. Absolutely lost it, because I don't think I'd seen any funny videos on LinkedIn by that point. This is a few years ago. I think there were some, but this
Mm-hmm.
was off my own back. And the response I got was absolutely enormous. The
Yeah.
most engagement I got on any videos ever up until that point. And I was like, oh, I've got to do more of this. I loved the attention.
Yeah.
I wanted more, give me more. And I did a 2 series of what I called the Secret Marketing Show, which was like sketch style videos.
Mm-hmm.
And I haven't quite gone back to that format, but that was it. That was me
Oh,
unleashed.
unleashed. I love that.
Unleashed.
Oh, I love that. I love that. I've created characters as well. I think that's just, I was thought, you know what, I'm going to have fun with this.
Yeah.
Instead of doing, okay, so today we're going to talk business. Like, who gives a shit? I was like, we're going
I
to have
think
some
some
fun.
people like that. I mean, I have no
Yeah.
doubt that some people see my stuff and they think it's awful. Like, and they scroll on by, and that's
Mm.
good, because
Yes.
I like to have a laugh, and you know, my client calls with my clients are largely serious, I'm afraid to say, but there's got to be some enjoyment, there's got to be
Yeah,
some fun in there somewhere. If your business is not fun, like, why are you running it? You've
absolutely.
got to enjoy it, as far as I'm concerned.
Absolutely. Bring the fun. Bring the fun. Bring more fun, people. Bring it.
Yeah.
Okay. So speaking of fun, something that business owners around the world since time immemorial have found to be loads of fun is pricing. So, right. So they've got an offer. They want to put something out into the world, and they're thinking, well, what now? How do I price this? I don't want to be seen to be too cheap, but I don't want to be too expensive. Okay. What can they do with that?
Yeah. Okay. So there are many ways you can approach this. Some of them sound very logical, but we all know it's not about logic. It's about how we feel. And when we're pricing our own services or even products, it feels like we're putting a price on ourselves, which is
Mm,
not what you want to do. People aren't buying you, they're buying the transformation. So the first thing you can do to really help you feel more confident about the prices you're putting on something is get really, really, really super clear on the full benefit of working with you. Where are
mhm.
they? I mean, you should be doing this anyway for your messaging and for the positioning of your offer, but get really clear on where your ideal clients for this offer is before they've worked with you on this specific issue, um, and where they are afterwards. And there's lots of ways you can do that. You can speak to people, do some research, you can look at your testimonials, but get really, really clear where they are before, where they are afterwards. And often that transformation is life changing. Like,
Mm,
if you had a health and nutrition coach who is helping people, probably they could be avoiding heart attacks, they could be avoiding death. Like, this is life and death you're putting
mm.
a price on. So going through that process and reminding yourself of the huge value you're bringing, is step one. That's something really solid you can do. Another exercise I like prescribing to people is write 15 reasons why you're the best person to do this thing. You can do it business wide if you're feeling just shaky generally, or you can do it just on this specific offer. But the reason there's 15, I mean, you write as many as you possibly can, but 5 will come easily, 10 will be tricky, 15, you'll be really like wringing them out of your head, and really, scratching your head. And the harder you find it, the more you need to do it.
Yeah.
And those last few will be really, really unique to you.
Mm-hmm.
And they won't be wishy-washy. They'll be like really unique to you and in depth. You should aim for sentences, not because I'm nice, because I work hard. Don't do that. It's got to be unique to you stuff. And that will start again bolstering why you're so good at what you do, why you're put on this earth to do what you do, and help you. And the last bit of advice I'll give on this is, what's often really handy is thinking about a price for your thing that would make you feel a bit sick. Like if you were to say it, you almost couldn't articulate it. What's that price? Where it's like, oh, that would be nice to get that much, but I couldn't actually say that out loud. I feel a bit sick. Then think about a price where you've wimped out.
Mm-hmm.
What's that level? Okay, I could say that, but it's wimping out. I know it's not enough, and then go somewhere in between. Like, I'm of the opinion that you should feel comfortable saying the price. I think some people are like, oh, if you're comfortable, you're not charging enough. I disagree with that. Like, you have to be able to say the price, and you have to think, yes, this is worth it. This is definitely worth. That has to be the energy when you say it, not like, it's £5,000. What do they think? Do they think I'm awful? No, it has to be like, yeah, it's £5,000, and by God, it should be 15. But you're lucky because I haven't, not quite there yet.
Yeah, it's that energy, though, isn't it?
It's worth it.
Yeah.
So much of it is your attitude. Like, so often we're paying for confidence.
Yeah,
paying for the confidence that you can deliver on your promises and you can deliver on your messaging. And if you don't feel confident, that's when the pricing becomes harder and harder and harder.
Oh, for sure. And even on sales calls, right? Because it gets to that point where you're having that conversation and the price comes up. If you haven't got the price mentioned any on your website, if this is the first time the prospective client is hearing it, you're like, and that'll be £900, please.
Yeah.
What? Sorry? That's gone. The sale's gone.
Yeah. No, you have to be bold with it. I always say the client has to be right for it and they have to be ready for it. If they have not, if they literally do not have the money for it, then they're not your right client. They're just not right. Yeah. They're not ready and they're not right. But if you do get somebody on the call that is right and ready and they say, oh gosh, that's a lot more than I thought. As long as you know it represents good value, it kind of doesn't matter what the client thinks. You shouldn't change your pricing based on what they say. It could be that you need to work on the positioning of it and you haven't expressed the value, or you haven't shared enough testimonials, or you just haven't presented enough value or represented the full value. Like, there are things you can look at, but often, 99% of the time, the pricing is not the issue. Pricing is not why people aren't buying.
Mm-hmm. Oh, for sure. For sure. And also the confidence in your offer, isn't it? And the confidence in yourself to deliver it. I think that's one of the things people won't buy with me, because you start chasing the sale instead of focusing on what it is that you actually can and do offer and really valuing that. I think there's just so many business owners I speak with that I don't think truly honor what they can do, the skills that they have. I really don't.
No, I think that's a common thing, isn't it? That it's the curse of knowledge. You don't know how good you are. What comes easily to you. You don't realize that it's your skill and that's what people are paying for. You sort of think, well, everyone can do that because it's so easy. Why would you not be able to do that? People aren't going to pay me good money for that.
Yeah, that's true.
World, isn't it?
But again, I always say it's like simple for you, game changer for someone else.
Exactly, yeah.
Because it might be simple for you, but then that's because you've got years and years and years of experience, right?
Or your natural personality. Like, it took me a very long time to realize that I am highly creative. Like, how did I miss that? But I'm plagued with ideas. I've got tons and tons and tons of ideas, which other people, that's not how their brain works. Like, they have to seek it out and go out or pay for other people to come up with the ideas. I've got so many ideas for different things, content, offers, just silly ideas that aren't going to go anywhere, about, movie scripts.
Well, maybe they will. Maybe they will.
Maybe they will.
Oh, I like the sound of that. Oh, the thumb down. Oh, no, that was meant to be a thumb up. I don't know why you got a thumb down there. Oh, I keep on meaning to turn that off. Yeah, movie script, thumb down.
Boo.
Boo, who do you think you are? Right. But I think it's perception, isn't it? I think the creativity is what we perceive creative to be, but creativity exists everywhere in everything. We just by virtue of starting a business, that means you're creative because you created something. So I think, yeah, there's a lot of binary, I think, or quite often binary way of thinking. It's like, it's got to be this way. And if it's not that way, then I am not it. Well,
Yeah.
mate, why? But speaking of offers, you mentioned offers. We're just coming to the end of our time together. So is there anything that you would like to let our people, the people of the world, know about regarding your offers and services?
Well, I have a cheeky freebie I can offer your listeners at janinecoombs.co.uk/sales. And oh no, that's my webinar. Sorry, I get confused. That's a webinar that's coming up on the 13th of June, which may well have come and gone by the time you're listening to this. The freebie, is janinecoombs.co.uk/jetpack. And it's my coaching sales jetpack free sales course, and it's very fun, and it features me with a CGI jetpack on my back.
I loved that.
And yeah, I'm mucking about. I'm having a good laugh on it. Let's put it that way. And it's useful. It's not just me being silly.
And it's got a jetpack. So what is there not to love about that? Oh, come on, people. Make it happen. Make it happen. But before we put on our jetpacks and fly off into the sunset, there is one final question that I ask, and that is, what is your espresso shot of confidence?
What I would say is, whatever you were doing in your business, find stuff that you enjoy and do more of that. Turns out I really like being silly on video. So I have made peace with people not liking that. Some people don't like silliness. I am quite a silly person and I like larking around on video. So I'm leaning into that. You do not have to be silly or funny or loud. I know some fabulous introverts that their calm presence is so gorgeous on podcasting or video or whatever they're doing. Lean into whatever your skills are, whatever your preferences are. It's like Dolly Parton says, learn who you are and then be that on purpose.
Love that.
I think I paraphrased that. I think I got that wrong, but the essence was there, wasn't it?
I loved it. Whether she said it or she said it that way or another way, we're going with it. We're going with it. And if she didn't say it, well, then that's something that you can put on your quote section on your website.
She definitely said something similar to that. Sounds like a Dolly thing to say, doesn't it?
I loved it. Loved it. Loved it. Loved it. And loved spending this time with you today. So thank you so much for joining us. It's been absolutely awesome.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Jolly nice chat.
Yes, absolute pleasure. Great way to spend a Thursday afternoon or whatever day it is that you're listening to this. So thank you to our awesome listeners wherever you are. Don't forget to subscribe wherever you're listening or watching this to get notifications of when the next episode drops. And as always, as you put on your jetpack and fly off into your sunset, don't forget to be awesome.